computer. I didn't see that option before. Hello, everyone. We actually have 4 people this time.
Woo.
Ooh.
Ooh, yeah. Sorry, everyone.
Good to have you back.
So after our best list, now we have to do the worst list, of course, for the nice shirt, by the way, Auntie.
Oh, thank you.
Did you mean to pick that out for this?
Yes. Have you heard of Left of the Dial Records in Santa Ana?
For those of you who don't know, Left the Dial Records is the record store owned by my father, named after a replacement song. Anyways, so we're doing the worst list for the 2019 year-end alternative list. All right, Justin Edmondson, you're trying to enter the room even though you're already here.
Uh-oh.
It was on my phone on accident. Don't let me in.
That's very interesting. All right, so we have all made our personal top 10 lists, and I have compiled them all together into a list. If there's, so first place on your list gets 10 points, second place gets 9, so on and so forth. If there is a tie, then the song that more of us picked goes higher on the list. And if there's the same number of people who picked the song, then we'll just put the one that was higher on the alternative list, because that means that it had more success, and therefore, we had to listen to it more. All right, starting with, again, remember, this is out of 50. Starting with number 21, we have Pressure by Muse.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was the only one to put that on my list. And I find that ironic because I am a huge fan of Muse. And this one just didn't do it for me for a couple of reasons, including, I know Muse does a lot of like political messaging and whatnot in their work. That's like half their thing. I feel like this song was kind of just mostly that, and the sound didn't really catch me, and that's all I can really say about it.
What position is it on your list?
Oh, good Lord. I think it's number 9, actually.
Yeah, it's number 9. So, because I know that you're more familiar with older Muse stuff. How much of the last two, like Drones onward, how much of that have you heard?
A handful of it ambiently, most of which, I'll be honest, I probably don't remember. I know there's 1 or 2 actually off of this album, Simulation Theory, that I do like. I think there's one called The Dark Side, which I find really enjoyable.
Yeah, Dark Side's like the best song in Simulation
got a cool
Theory,
video too. But so yeah, I still like some of their new stuff, but not all of it.
So there's more of a sense of disappointment here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Gotcha.
It's just, I guess not. I would say not what I hoped for more Muse, but it's to be expected still.
I guess if there's a quick way to do this, what is a good Muse song to you, or maybe what was different with this one?
Well, okay.
A little bit nebulous, I know.
I forget the names of their old albums, but stuff that seemed like really either unique or that really got me. Like Supermassive Black Hole has such a distinct sound that's like you just can't ignore it. Or something like Knights of Sidonia it's just got such like a strong rhythm to it. It's just a lot of fun to listen to.
Yeah, regardless of what you think about it, you'll never forget Knights of Sidonia.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't even need to necessarily know what the words are saying. I still love it, sort of thing. So,
that's one of the ones I would kind of credit with being a little theatrical. It's got like a little bit of a cinematic aspect to it, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Versus this, I don't know. I don't remember it. Don't feel it.
Yeah, fair enough.
On to number 20, we have Happier by Marshmello featuring Dan Smith of Bastille.
All right, so this is my number 9 worst song. And I think mainly the reason this song is on here is because I think I've probably heard it 50,000 times. Yeah. Probably a little bit of hyperbole, but not that much. And it's just, I don't know. For me, it's a super, in my opinion, it's very boilerplate. It's I don't know. I don't really like the sound of the song. It's a little bit, I don't know. I don't dislike the sentiment of it. Like, if you're not making the person happy, let them be happy. That's great. That's actually a very healthy idea, but I don't know. It just, the song didn't really vibe with me. and it's not my kind of music. Like I like some Bastille songs, and this didn't have what I want from them at all. And so that's why this is number 9. So it could have fallen off this. I didn't like majorly hate it, but I wasn't a huge fan. It was a little boilerplate and kind of boring.
Oh, your camera's wobbling a bunch, Justin. From no worries.
All right, I will figure this out.
I'd have to say that the song would probably be an honorable mention, or I guess dishonorable mention for me as well. For partly a similar reason of I've just heard it so many times, but I was trying to kind of look past that. And with this one, I like Bastille and I like some of Marshmello independently, and together they were all right. I just feel like it's a song that has a really short half-life, so that I kind of enjoyed it at first, but that died out pretty quick. And now it's just like, if it comes on, I flip to something else, which is a lot
smart. Yeah, because I don't think it bothered me so much at the beginning, like you were saying, but after you hear it 20 times, it starts grating on me a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Fun fact: this song, I believe, was like number 1 on the electronic like dance music chart for a whole year.
Wow.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. It was in like commercial. Was it in commercials? I don't know. If
Sure
it was, I heard it everywhere.
I think it Target, I want to say.
It's such a weird song, the sentiment of it, like to be in a Target commercial. Or in just like,
I'm in
someone else.
I'm in the same boat as Andy. It would be in like my bottom 15, I think. But for some people, overplay causes them to hate your song more. For me, I've just become so numb to it at a certain point that actually it kind of stops bothering me. All right, on to number 19. We have "My Blood" by 21 Pilots.
Which I know is on my list. Anyone else have that? Probably
nope.
Not.
I had it in my bottom 15, but not quite number 10.
Fair enough. I think I discussed in the last video, 21 Pilots is weirdly very hit and miss for me. I genuinely like a lot of their stuff. Some of the other stuff just really falls flat for me. And among the spattering of music from them we've had recently, I mean, we always have music from them.
There's 3, I think, on the
19. This one just, I don't know. It didn't cut it for me. It's like, I like the idea of it. I don't care for the execution of it. There are certain parts, I don't know what part of the song you consider it, but where it's like slows down and it just feels like he's talking at you. And it's like, kind of want to change the station now.
Sometimes the talking works with 21 Pilots, and then sometimes, it falls flat.
It does, yeah. And I can't tell what the difference is. It's I guess, just how the whole thing comes together in the end. So,
Tommy, what do you think of Jumpsuit?
This is number 8 on my list, by the way. Me?
Yeah.
I don't remember Jumpsuit. Hang on.
Whoops.
I thought.
Oh, I'm sure I do. Hang on.
No, yeah. I guess briefly back to My Blood. I think part of the reason it was in my bottom 15 is the repetitiveness of it.
Yeah.
I almost put that Silver Sun Pickup song on my list.
Doesn't matter why.
Yeah, for a similar reason. They don't necessarily sound bad, and I like both bands. I kind of like the sound, but it's tough to make it through the chorus on those.
This is actually sorry, Justin.
No, it's okay. My bad. I was just saying, like, the song is only like 3 minutes and 40 seconds or 50 seconds or something, and it feels really long.
Yeah, it really does.
For me, it feels like a 6-minute song because I never really feel. It feels fairly one note. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't notice.
Here's the thing. I actually disagree with that. I think Andy is perfectly on point with his comparison to that Silver Sun Pickup songs, because much like that song, this one, for me, it reaches a point that I really like, where in the bridge of It Doesn't Matter Why, you get this violence, it gets really triumphant. This song, I think there's a lot of synth work in it that's actually very pretty. The problem is, as Andy mentioned, super repetitive, falsetto vocals from this guy, and I already don't think he's got an interesting delivery, so interest level drops. And the reason I asked Tommy about Jumpsuit is that I really like that sludgy guitar tone that they use on Jumpsuit. And this song replicates that, but the song tries to go with like this weird, more muted, sort of funky feel rather than, the explosiveness of Jumpsuit.
Yeah.
So that really heavy tone doesn't make any sense to me.
Verdict on Jumpsuit. I like it better than My Blood. It's not one of my favorites from them.
Yeah, I hear that.
But
all right.
Yeah, I think the guitar is better in Jumpsuit.
Number 18, Broken by Lovely the Band. My number 7. Yeah, my number 7. Look, this song is on the 2018 year-end list as well, so we've been stuck with it for so long.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. There's a part of me that thinks there's something salvageable here. So I won't deny the hook's not catchy, and I do think there's a sentiment here that could work, about being surrounded by all these just vapid hipsters and just trying to find someone real, someone that you can connect with to share in sort of your pain together. I Love Alone Together by Fall Out Boy, which I think does the same thing well. The problem is that the lead singer of Lovely the Band sounds like the creepiest individual on the planet because he's got just nothing distinctive. I have no idea what the guitars and drums are doing on this song. It just sounds like they're awkwardly like shuffling back and forth and no one told them what to play. And it's just incredibly derivative of especially MGMT and pumped up kick Sarah Foster the People, and especially that jumpy synth lead that the song's most famous from. Like, you're so derivative, man.
Yeah, I've heard you complain about this song for almost 2 years now.
Yeah, I'm
so
sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's just it's stuck around. Like,
yeah,
I still hear it.
It's huge.
I have to admit, like, I'm in a weird place with the song because for whatever reason, I don't know, I was in a place or something. I really liked it when I first heard it, and now, like, if I'd never heard it before, it would probably make it on my list here. So I'm mixed on it. I
think there is something worthwhile with it. It's just it's got a hook where they had one great idea and they had nothing else to surround it with.
No, yeah, it would be on my honorable mention for me, like right off.
I kind of like the song still. I liked it when it came out, and I like it maybe a little less now. It's still kind of charming to me. I pretty much agree with all the points you made. It is very derivative. MGMT is a pretty good comparison. It's just like, I don't know, it's a tired song for me. Like, if I'm tired and it comes on, I'll be like, oh, hey, it's Lovely the Band. And I'll probably let it play.
And unlike other sort of other big alternative songs, this band is sticking around, it appears. So if you didn't like Broken, then guess what? They're not going away. Of all the bands to still stick around.
It was a bit of a surprise. It seems like it could have been a one-hit wonder.
On to number 17, we have Bad Liar by Imagine Dragons.
I think that was, again, only me.
Yep.
Probably. That was my number 6, which is a weird spot for me. I don't know. I like Imagine Dragons. It's a similar situation with Muse. I like their older stuff better, I feel. But, yeah. And this song is weird for me as well because I really like parts of it, like the sort of in between like verses where it's sort of quieter and more, I don't know how you describe it other
atmospheric.
Than atmospheric synthy sort of thing. I'm like, okay, I really dig that. But then we get to the chorus and the like voice gets big and for normally I like that with Imagine Dragons, but here it was like I kind of feel like you just went contrary to the feel of the song you were doing and it just doesn't click for me. I don't know. It's tough to explain it.
No, yeah, they have this weird like overblownness that they love to do, and it'll come up later. But
they're going to be on this list too.
Oh yeah,
the chorus just. It's so, like I said, you're so right. For me, I actually like the verses. It's a lot softer and a lot more, I don't know, pleasant to listen to, in my opinion, than some of their other more recent stuff. But that chorus just, it takes me out of it. And it almost made it, but I didn't want to put two of the same band on the same list. So
that was me exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't have made my bottom list, and we'll talk more about this band later because I have plenty to say. Andrew, sorry.
I guess a group poll. Do any of you feel like it would have been better or more listenable if they had kept the chorus kind of in the same like tone or tempo as the verses? Kind of kept it a little bit low.
If they had just let it be like a soft sort of ambient song, I think it could have actually been really pleasant. But they didn't, and it made it weird.
That might have even been like a little bit of a nice, not necessarily turn, but a nice new or more recent sound from Imagine Dragons. Because I feel like lately they have been doing a whole lot of the like ramping up into overblown chorus, which is getting maybe a little, well, more than maybe, a little tired by now. And in the past, I've credited Imagine Dragons for at least trying a lot of different sounds, which is maybe...
And they were hugely influential, whether or not you like them. They defined like 2016 to 2018. You look at the alternative list, there's plenty of stuff that sounds like them, and I think they were kind of the first to do it.
And they're still going strong, if by popularity, you know.
Credit where it's due.
All right.
Yeah, they got a lot of music out there.
On to number 16, we have what Justin put on his list as Abso Facto by Dissolve, but it's Dissolve by Abso Facto.
Okay. My bad.
Maybe that's an indicator.
I don't know. This song just didn't click for me.
Why is it on your list?
Oh, my bad. It is number, I believe, 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, this song, I don't know. It just... I didn't like the sampling a little bit, like the voices in the background, the tone of the lead singer's vocals, the like video game kind of aesthetic in the back. I don't know. It just didn't really work for me. It felt like it's trying to be like, I don't know. Just the vibe really didn't work for me. It didn't click with me. I know no one else had it on here. Maybe you guys get a little bit more of what it was trying to do, but for me, it didn't click at all.
So you put, as far as I remember, you put 2 electronic songs on your best list, right? You put Trampoline and Fast Talk on your best list, right, Justin? What differentiates those from this?
I don't know. Well, I think Fast Talk, I don't know. It's kind of a jam to me a little bit. Like when I was putting it on a little bit, I don't know. It's just a little bit more of a groove, maybe a little bit more like keeps my attention. Where this one is super in the background, and then I don't know. I think the aesthetic of it didn't, and then Trampoline, I don't know. It had a little bit more of a lower end. I felt in it, where like I don't know I don't know how to describe the instrumental on the Trampoline song, but there was more meat. It felt like there was more meat to it than in this one, where it's very high note kind of stuff that just didn't grab my attention.
Mm-hmm. And I agree. The dude's voice is just totally forgettable.
Yeah. Just you guys didn't bother you as much though, obviously.
Not quite to the same degree. Yeah. It's admittedly, this is a song I've mostly only recently heard, and I think like the overall effect of it kind of comes together for me, and I kind of enjoy it. Whether or not that will last, we'll have to see.
It's just my taste. I mean, I didn't think it was I could see why people like it, but for me, it just wasn't.
They like it because TikTok memes.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Yeah, it's one of the big ones that has gotten big off of TikTok.
I think I'm officially old because I have no idea TikTok, what's big on there or whatever.
All right, Tommy, do you have anything to add?
Not much that wasn't said. I probably like it, just because I'm more into the electronica, and then this is sort of a groovy, smooth electronic for me, but it wasn't one of my favorites per se.
All right, number 15, Maybe I'm Afraid by Lovely the Band. First one that more than one person put.
Oh.
All right.
So I've got it at number 8 on mine.
I have it at number 8 on mine. So,
Andy hasn't gotten to speak yet, I don't think.
Sure.
So,
lead the way.
So here's an interesting case, because I just said that I still more or less like Broken, but this one doesn't do it for me. And I think it's, at least part of it is a similar issue with Imagine Dragons. It's sort of okay sounding. I can't quite tell what it's trying to be about. I feel like it's some sort of love song, but correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it is supposed to be a love song.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Except the hook focuses all on the lead singer's insecurities, which is odd.
Yeah. Then we get to the hook and the chorus, and it just starts blasting me with, like you said, insecurities, and it's kind of a turnoff. I don't need this. You're doing so well.
There's another song we're going to get to later that has a very similar problem, but continue.
I think I know the one. But yeah. It's a little simple, maybe a little petty, but I think a lot of my list this time is just songs that I would pretty quickly change to something else if they came on, and this would have to be one of them because I just...
You're muted.
Sorry, I muted you accidentally. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to click around that much.
Nah, you're fine. No, yeah. This one, the chorus is a little too much for me, so I'll pass.
Yeah, Justin.
So it's pretty much the same thing he's saying, except that, I don't know, it was worse. Like, I don't really like Broken. And this is like a worse Broken in my opinion. Like, it's a little complainy and a little bit, I'm fine with like music being like insecure, and I think that's interesting, but I don't think the song did it very well. It didn't really make me like feel for him or like be invested that this guy is in love, but he's scared because he has all these insecurities. And I don't know, just musically it feels like a lazier Broken, and the chorus is really kind of shouty, and
it has aspects that I want to like it's okay to be insecure in a song, and it's sort of an interesting message of like speaker trying to be in love, but they have to deal with these things. So that's okay. The side of like kind of owning your insecurities and like this is a part of you and you can be whatever, that's okay as well. But then taking those and putting it into like this bombastic like shouting into the wind kind of thing, it doesn't blend.
Yeah, if it had been a little bit more understated, I think it would make like maybe work a little bit better, because I don't know, I'm fine with like yelling out your insecurities, like, but it seems like it would fit the, I don't know, a tone more a little bit if it was a little bit more understated, less trying to be such a catchy pop song in a way.
Yeah, I guess it's an interesting experiment. I don't know if I want to see it tried with something else.
Yeah.
So Andy and Tommy might remember that when we did a Billboard review last year, this was number 2 on my best list. And I still want to stick up to it to some extent, because there's one line in it that I think is really good in the bridge where he says, maybe all we are is fools with hearts that try too hard, and maybe that's just as fine as long as you're here in my arms. That's a really good line, I think. The problem is, as you've mentioned, the hook is just, loud, blaring, which would be fine even if with all these insecurities, except it ends with him saying, I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid. It's like, is that really what you want to end it with? And I think at the time I just was so impressed by the shouting, because I'm like, at least there's some personality here, unlike Broken where he just was nothing. But it's not good. It's nowhere near my worst list, because again, I do love that one line, and I kind of want to stick up for it. But I can't disagree with what you two are saying.
And again, it's number 8 on my list. Oh yeah. And so like the back end of this list, there's things about them that I don't like loathe.
Despise,
there's only a couple songs here that I really loathe, but like this one, I could see how it'd be better. But for me, I don't know. It was a bit too, I don't know, disparate, in my opinion.
All right. On to number 14, Can't Knock the Hustle by Weezer.
Ooh, this was, where'd I have it?
I have it number 10.
Number 6 for me.
All right.
Justin?
So I actually do like a decent amount of old Weezer. like 90s Weezer, maybe even a little early 2000s. This song was just, oh my god! It almost could possibly move up on this list, but for now it'll stay at 10. It just bugged me. Like, it really annoyed me. They haven't been very good for a while, but I don't get why this weird like Latin or like that they're talking.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are they trying to be cute or are they trying to be funny and it doesn't work for me?
Self-aware, man.
Oh my god! It just
we'll
bothered
get to
me.
that later.
Yeah. This one, I'd have to say some pretty similar things. I like a fair handful of old Weezer. I haven't necessarily listened to that much new Weezer, but it might be the little ones that pop up that aren't so great that make me not pursue it. This one, bugged is a good word for it. I think parts of it are the lyrics. It feels insipid or shallow, or I don't know what's going on. It's just too like
but it's self-aware, man. They're making self-aware comments about what critics think of them. Yeah. This isn't in defense of the song. This was almost on mine as well.
The chorus too, for me, the hasta luego, adios part almost made me shut it off. But it doesn't do anything so offensive that I put it lower. Like, again, this might be more like 7 now that I'm thinking about it. My 7th or 6th worst. But it's just, I don't know. Because I like Buddy Holly and even some of those older ones, like I still kind of jam to. But this one is just so far away from just some like smaller garage-y, alternative-y kind of band. And this is just, I don't know. It's them trying to be cute and funny and self-aware, and it really doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I think maybe that's it. Self-aware is difficult to pass for me. Like, on the converse, there were parts of this song that almost interested me, like without really paying attention to the lyrics or some of what was going on. It was almost like fun background music, but that would probably get old pretty quick.
I could understand that. Like, the instrumental doesn't bother me. It's definitely more the vibe and the way, like, the attitude of the song, less than the actual, like, musical aspect.
Yeah. Weezer would not have been my first guess as to who did this.
Especially because Rivers Cuomo, he's not untalented, but he can't sell this kind of swagger at all.
No, not at all.
And I think, unlike Justin, where the album I listened to a bunch as a Weezer when I was younger was the Red Album. The album that everyone has no opinion on when it comes to Weezer. So so if I had more of that connection to their old stuff as Justin does, it would probably be on my list as well. But because there's so much of their other stuff that I honestly think is worse, at least there's like something of a groove here I can get behind. Yeah, it sounds kind of ugly and sticky, but there's at least like some bass here that I can enjoy.
No. Musically, I actually don't have many like issues with it. Yeah. But again, it's all the lyrics and the attitude, and it just doesn't fit. And I was just like, it was almost face palming when I heard the hasta luego part. I was almost like, yeah.
I feel like this is the kind of song that would come on at like, I don't know, some party or something, and like a handful of people would probably dance to it, and then most people might just kind of ignore it.
No, I get it.
Tommy, do you have anything to say?
I'm in an interesting place because I, on the contrary, am not a fan of a lot of old Weezer stuff. I just really can't get into their sound or their feeling from old stuff. I mean, I probably don't know all that much, but everything I've heard is generally like, I'd like to like this better. And this song, actually what Andy said, I would never have guessed it to be Weezer because it doesn't sound like what I associate them sounding like. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be totally honest, I have not paid a single bit of attention to what the lyrics actually say. I have no idea what it's about. I just know the sound. And it's got some kind of groovy bass under there that I kind of have to dig. Yeah, I guess I would agree with one thing that was said. It would be great background music for a little bit. And then I'd probably stop listening. But I don't know. It's
one more thing before we have to move on. I saw someone compare this song to Vertigo by U2 with all the Spanish in it, because Vertigo starts with Uno, dos, tres, catorce. But at least that song is trying to be like surreal, and it's trying to like put you in this weird headspace, or it's at least trying to do something, whereas I have no idea why it's in this song. On to the next one. At number 13, we have Low/High by the Black Keys.
Oh yeah, hang on. That was, I think I put that on here. Am I the only one who put it on?
Probably. Yeah, you are.
Which is another funny one, because I like a lot of Black Keys, at least in comparison to...
What position is it at?
Oh yeah, what position is it at? It's my number 4. I feel like I might have swapped that with one a little bit lower or less bad on my list. I don't know. I just didn't like the sound of it. It was, for being new Black Keys, I feel like I've talked about it before, and I described it as like biker bar music or something like that. I just really can't get into the sound of it. It's just sort of noisy to me. I don't know. It doesn't mesh well with my ears.
Yeah, that's fair enough reason. No. It must be a pretty strange year in which you put both Muse and Black Keys on your lowest list, and Blake has neither of them. Something might be going on.
My only 2 personality traits in middle school were hating Muse and hating Black Keys. But I think that's partially why this song doesn't bother me as much, because it's like the songs I really hate from Black Keys are the ones that are just more obnoxious, more grating. Like for me, Gold on the Ceiling, can't stand that song. This one is just and oh my god, what's it? Go, I think is the other one on this list, are just just nothing. They convey nothing to me. This one at least has some gospel background vocals, which I kind of like, to make up for Dan Auerbach just not giving any effort at all.
I sort of agree with that as well. I personally do tend to like some Black Keys, but both the ones on this year-end list were, nothing is a fairly good word for them. They just pass me by. There's some all right stuff, but they're forgettable in my opinion.
Inoffensive, but for me it wasn't like a terrible thing. It just was like, it'd be probably right there smack dab in the middle. If we had to rank these 50, it'd be like, oh yeah, right in the middle.
What if we one of these days just do a middle list? What are the songs that you had no opinion on?
Yeah,
it'd be a pretty boring video.
I have no opinion on it.
That might be short. Yeah.
All right.
I like Go a bit better than Low/High, but I don't like either of them very much. They're forgettable is a good word for them for me.
On to number 12, we have Worst Nights by Foster the People. Andy, out of all of them, this is the one that fascinates me the most. So please say where this is on your list and why it didn't do anything for you.
On my list, this is number 3, and it's the West Coast. No, it's that's only part of it. The whole song, it's a little bit similar to the Weezer one, where there are some parts of it that I almost want to like. Some of the music is okay, some of the lyrics are all right, but as a whole, it starts to drone, and just, I think the tone at which it's sung is grating on me. That, and it's also another one that just feels kind of shallow, like maybe a bit of a party song, but I don't really want it outside of that context. That makes sense? Maybe.
It's, you made the joke about me, not being Black Keys or Muse songs. You could throw Foster the People in there too. I used to hate this band. I used to hate, Best Friends, Feels Like It's Coming. I always Pumped Up Kicks. I always hated too. And, last year, all of us really liked, or 2 years ago, Sit Next to Me. All of us liked that. Yeah. And this one, I'm like, meh. Same with the Black Keys song, like, meh, it'd be right smack in the middle. I have no opinion on this. Out of all of them, it's the one I probably remember the least of.
Yeah. This one, it's just, a kind of rule of thumb for me on this one. It's if it came on after I'd heard it 2 or 3 songs, I'm pretty sure I would just switch it. And I can't replicate it. Well, I tried poorly, but the chorus I think is the most annoying part, where it's a little bit one tone and it's not a very good tone. And he says West Coast in a stylized fashion that bugs me.
I get that.
If you're not into sort of the the high life of Californication, then you're not gonna like this song, which comes back in another song later. All these not flash forwards. The hell term am I looking for? Not flash forwards. Oh my god, what the hell term am I looking for? Setups, I guess. All these setups I'm dropping. All right, anything else to say, Andy?
I think that about sums it up.
All right. Now Tommy's just going to rant on these next 2 songs that are on the top of his list. Number 11, Father of All by Green Day.
Yeah. Always.
What position?
What position? Father of All by Green Day is number 2 on my list, second worst. And I mean, I hesitate to call it worst because, well, no, it's my opinion. I can be valid.
Yeah, stick with it, man.
I don't know. I've never been super enthralled by Green Day. I know they're, by some considerations, pretty great and all that.
What do you mean you're not enthralled? We went and saw their stage play.
Oh yeah,
we did, and that was great. But that is
that was different.
Their actual music. I just felt like this song was more noisy and sort of yelling at me than I wanted to hear driving home late at night in my car after a long day of classes. I was just like, all right, I'm way too tired for this. And that kind of sticks around with me at all times. I don't know. I'm just like, I feel like I'm being yelled at a little bit. And I'll be honest, I don't really know what it's about.
It's intentionally supposed to be kind of meaningless, which...
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Which, if it was more fiery, that'd be excusable, but yeah, it's just kind of there.
I hate the effect they have on the voice.
That's a little...
Well, it's also him singing in falsetto, which he almost never does.
Yeah, that was unusual to hear.
I heard something somewhere. Maybe it was from speaking with you. I don't know. And I might be wrong about this, but something about like, it was just like a mini album they threw out because they had to make music to keep their record label open or something.
That wouldn't shock me because everyone said the new album was just garbage.
Yeah. I heard somewhere that it was kind of filler while they're working on better stuff or something. And I'd be willing to believe that because...
But it's been like, oh no, it hadn't been that long because they did Revolution Radio, which I was a big fan of, but like it had been like 3 years, I think. It had been a little bit. But yeah, this is a song I did kind of want to like, because like you, I'm not really a Green Day guy, but this song sounds more like Queens of the Stone Age, especially like that Come and Love Me High the Way You Used to Do, which I really like.
Yeah.
But the single worst fake hand claps I have ever heard.
It's awful.
For a band with this much, like Green Day, you have to have a budget that can afford better sounds than this.
Maybe they're already losing that record label.
It's an interesting analysis, I guess, to say it did feel a little cheap in a certain sense.
Yeah, where I'm like, if that's the point, you have to go all the way. As Justin said, there's clearly some vocal manipulation going on here.
Yeah, they couldn't just hire a random dude off the street to clap. They had to use like...
And if they are real, they've been mangled to the point where you can't tell.
I'd have to agree with certain points that are brought here. To some degree, I was fascinated enough to kind of want to like this song because it's pretty different from most other Green Day I've heard, what I have heard. So that was intriguing. That said, it was a contender. It was pretty much a tie between this one and Worst Nights for the final spot I was filling on my list. It was fascinating, but not good.
No, yeah,
Novel, but yeah.
Because I kind of wanted to like it because it's so much different than the rest of the list too. Like it's actually like fairly upbeat, got some real like guitar, but I don't know. Like, and I definitely see the Queens of the Stone Age connection, but again, it sounded really bad. Like, yeah.
All right, the Tommy Show continues with number 10, "Good Things Fall Apart" by Illenium, featuring John Bellion, and John Bellion. I can't keep track.
Yeah, this made it all the way to the first worst for me.
I am fascinated by this.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird because there's a small part of me that says it's actually pretty good, and then the rest of me is like, but why don't I like it? There are parts of it that I like, but I feel like when it gets to, I guess mostly the chorus feels
Yes. Oh boy.
just very noisy and grating to me. The sort of the weird weird
those are
electronic
just
sounds
so
in the background
make no sense with what the theme of it is.
Yeah, it throws me off, and I don't know. I'm listening to parts of it again, and I'm like, I really do like parts of these, but something about the mix of the chorus and then like the other slower parts where it's a bit more like acoustic guitar and stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to take away from this song. And I just really, the sound is one that like is hard to get out of my head and just annoys me. And I can't explain why. So I don't know. It's one of those, don't know why, but I hate it.
Yeah, this was one song, because I saw a lot of people praising this song on the YouTube channel I watched that reviews the Billboard charts, and this is one that's on like the bubbling under chart, which is like the 25 below the Hot 100, and it like floundered there for a long time, and there were people who were like, oh, why is it making it? And it's one I did want to like, but as Tommy said, the hook is just a mess. Like the song's trying to be like 5 different styles of breakup songs, where like, the good things fall apart implies that he's okay with it, and then the hook is him like trying to get back in her. And look, I've never been in a relationship, so I can't speak to this, but the entire hook just feels insincere, where he says, tell me what I did, tell me why you hate me, whatever it is, I'm sorry. It's like, apologies usually work best when you know what you did wrong and are owning up to it. It's, I'm sorry for whatever I did. Like, that doesn't have the same power, right?
Yes, I would agree. My mind had managed to erase most memory of it because it just categorized it as being don't like, forget. But now I am remembering.
And then the second part, he says, I know I can be dramatic, but everyone says we had it. Like, again, self-awareness means nothing when you're just are showing exactly why you are dramatic. Like, what am I trying to get away from this?
Besides the sound, I do remember now the lyrics. My impression was just like, this is a breakup song, but it's more like saying, I'm still right.
But then the sentiment is good things fall apart. Like, it seems like he's trying to accept it.
I really, it's insincere is a great word for it. I think.
And it was one that, again, I did try to like, because I don't think the sound, unlike you, I don't think the sound's actually that bad. And again, because so many people really liked it, but I think that's also because people like John Bellion. But like, the hook just kept bugging me. I'm like, what is this trying to convey, man?
Yeah. This song, I more or less enjoy up to the first hook or the first chorus. Well, I don't necessarily pay that much attention to the lyrics anymore, but the like synth and electronic sounds of it, they're kind of up my alley. Like that sound is pretty good to me. It makes me sort of interested to look into what else Illenium has done.
Illenium,
thanks. Because maybe I'd like some of that. But combine this with a breakup, makeup, I don't know, whatever it is song, it gets weird. This is a point that may come up later, and I don't know if I'll be able to make it very well. It also might be an opinion. But having listened to a fair amount of electronic music, it seems like certain subjects or certain approaches to lyrics or topics go over better than others. And like, not to say, oh, your message must be this important to make it into an electronic song, but something like a breakup song or this kind of thing feels a little off with these kind of like grandiose electronic sounds in it, at least to me. It's like
that disparity I think will come up on a later song more so.
Oh yeah, I have a couple in mind.
Tommy, you have anything more to say?
I would just make a small comment about what Andy was just saying, and that I agree with you. There's something hard to explain, but like certain electronica can have, I don't know, it's sort of like a mystic power to make even a strange message be like, yes, this seems important. And this felt very much like, this does not feel like it goes together.
So to say that the lyrics don't earn the music seems like a statement a little above my credentials, but it's sort of what I feel here.
I would agree. Anyway.
On to number 9, Choke by I Don't Know How, But They Found Me, which is my number 8.
It is my number, I believe, 3.
Yeah, it's your number 3. So when we did the best list, I said that there were few on Andy and Tommy's best list that I would put on my worst list. This ended up being the only one because I already said way too much negative stuff about oh my god, what the hell is this song? Doing Time. I said too much negative when I shouldn't have. And
I was looking here. I was thinking you were going to have that, but no.
But realistically, I'm like, I just hate the original more, and I actually think the Lana Del Rey version is better. But this one just, I didn't say anything negative about what you were talking about, which I was proud of because I normally would. But yeah, this one just annoys me. And it's one of the only ones that I try to pick ones where there's a mix of musical and lyrical reasons why. This is basically only here for lyrical reasons where, look, I'm from California. I have heard so much thrown at Hollywood and especially sort of, the fake glamour of this and I get it. I understand it. But because I've heard it so much, you need to do it right. And this song, like the tone required for a song like this, where this topic is just righteous fury. That's not the tone of this song. The tone of this song is petty, ugly condescension, which regardless of topic is not a sentiment I want to hear.
See, I'm in a fascinating place because this was, I think, number 10 on my favorites.
I think so, yeah.
I totally understand what you're saying about the lyrics, and I am surprised that I do like this song for that reason. Mm-hmm. Normally, pettiness is something that really turns me off or I just don't get. Here, though, I also kind of agree that, like, righteous fury is more what works for it. I think I'm just fascinated by what they did here with it being petty, but in sort of a not really sneaky, but like aggressively, condescending way. And I think it's that coupled with how I find the music to be pretty entertaining and like kind of gripping that makes me, I guess my conclusion is, well, if you put this much effort into being this petty, I'll let you have it.
Fair. All right. Justin.
So pretty much take everything Blake says, except be way more annoyed at the tone and a little bit less interested in the musical side of it. The musical side is pretty much to me. It's not terrible, but the tone, it just bugged me. Like, again, I don't have any deep, critical freaking ways to describe it. It just bugged me. And choke yourself.
It's also made even weirder by the fact that it's talking about specifically Hollywood, but it anthropomorphizes it as a human that's talking about, which just makes it all the more weird because if you don't know that he's talking about Hollywood, that just seems like he's just bashing on this person.
One person, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's a little ambiguous to me. Which
for me,
part of my liking.
it was like I didn't love the background kind of vocals either. I thought those were a little annoying to me.
Yeah, those are my least favorite musical element.
That and again, maybe it wasn't like, oh my god, it's so terrible, but because I hated the tone and I hated the vibe of the song, that those little things just stuck out a little more.
If you dislike someone, everything they do starts to irritate you. I get that.
Yeah.
On to number. Sorry. All right. Sorry. Unmute yourself again. My bad. I keep switching between Zoom and the Google Doc, so I keep clicking poorly.
Just real quick, I think if this song were in sort of the sound or like the musical profile of like Can't Knock the Hustle or Worst Nights, I would probably hate it.
Okay.
Yeah. Gotcha. And then just a side note, I kind of like the song, but some of their other stuff, like Do It All the Time, I like a fair bit more. So
yeah, I'll make one quick note on it and say that actually, I agree. If it was in more of a tone like the two songs you cited, I would outright hate it. The way it's presented makes it feel more ironic or sarcastic to me. I don't know if it is, but that's how it occurs to me. So I'm like, okay, I can kind of dig that, but
I could see that.
Think about it.
On to number 8, the first song 3 of us put on their worst list, Hurt by Oliver Tree, which is my number 10.
My number 10 as well.
My number 2.
2, yeah. I'll start because I've only talked about 2 songs on my worst list, which is very odd, I think. Have I talked about 2? Yeah, I think it's only 2. Holy crap. Get used to this guy because he appears to be sticking around. There's individual musical elements that I do kind of like. I like the very heavy, very warping synthesizer in the verses. I like the really chunky guitar that comes in. Wow, and
sorry, I'm looking something up on my computer.
Sorry, yeah. But this got, much like Choke, just the attitude of the song and the tone of it is just so irritating. And because it was inspired by a scooter accident that he had when he was like 18. My mistake on the original review of this. He's not 6, he was 18. Which makes it better, but it's still like, it's just this weird, like, existential, like the most annoying person in the world going through like an existential crisis, or you're like, I just can't. What was the song previously that you talked about? I guess maybe I'm Afraid, similar to this, where like it's just about feeling so much pain and so much anguish, and you just can't get into it. It was going to be higher on mine, but ultimately there's musical elements I liked enough in it. I do not blame anyone who was irritated by it as Justin was. Andy.
This song, and especially this artist, are a very fascinating case for me because only within about the last week have I discovered the album it's come from, which is Ugly is Beautiful by Oliver Tree. And I found this out because I found a song that I really like off of it, which is, I think, 1993, which is really...
I forgot.
What's it? Yeah. It's really fascinating. I quite enjoy that song. I've been listening to it a lot. And then we get to Hurt, which I can very much see how it's by the same artist, and yet I don't like. I think a little similar to some of what you've said. Mostly my turn off with this, I think, is the lyrics. Mostly what it says, part of how it sounds. The music I find a fair amount interesting, and like, having kind of taken another look at it because I found a song that I like by him, I sort of like some of the electronic elements of it and just sort of the musicality in general. So there's a reason this is high on my list of lows.
And that can often happen with artists, where you find the one song you like from them and you're like, all right, this is what this person's vision is, and it causes you to rethink everything else by them. That happens plenty of times. I'm glad it happened with you, Andy.
So
Justin, rip into this, because I'm sure you're dying to.
So it's very much what I thought about Choke, kinda. It's again, it's not so much that the music is that bad, even though I find that it somehow contributes to the whininess and the complaininess and the anger. The fucking, sorry, Sorry.
It was. Is this the first profanity we've had in this video? Wow,
I know.
impressive.
I apologize. I've tried to stay.
It's not gonna get monetized anyways.
But oh my god, I swear this dude, his whole aesthetic, the way it sounds, his complaining, it just bugs the absolute crap out of me. And so again, musically, the heavy guitars I actually enjoy. Like if I'm just looking at it from that little tiny part, it's like, oh, I get that. Oh, this isn't so bad. But I can't. It's like, I don't know. If you had a crap sandwich and the bread was really good, you wouldn't care.
That's a good way of putting it.
Anyone
have anything else? Yeah, sorry, Tommy.
Oh no, I was just being sarcastic. Unless everyone else is done.
Everyone else is done.
This is, I'll keep it short, which is whatever. A song that I very, very badly want to hate, but something about it makes that hard for me. I think it's just that unlike Choke, it's a little bit harder to believe this to be something like ironic. It seems sort of genuine in its hate for everything. And I would be very turned off by that, but for some reason, I find it almost entertaining. It's sort of like just screaming at everything and desperately being self-righteous, and in a way it's almost like, that's cute in a disgusting way. It's hard to describe. I find it funny, but it was very close to making my worst list.
And again, this guy I think is sticking around. So get used to him. I think he's going to have a career. Number 7.
Listen to 1993. I think it needs an extra chorus at the end, and you might hate it, but it's different.
Number 7, 99 by Barnes Courtney. I think it's Courtney. I'd be really sad if that was wrong. Number 5 on mine.
5 on mine.
I've talked on the last few. Go ahead, Tommy.
Okay. This is another weird one for me. I like parts of it again. At least parts of the music, electronically, and I'll be honest, I haven't paid super close attention to the lyrics, but I get the general gist of it. I just find it kind of annoying more than anything, and or it goes into the like it's 1999 or whatever. I don't know. That kind of throws me. I don't know how to describe this one. It doesn't work for me.
So Andy might remember way back on one of these we talked about a song by this guy, Golden Dandelions, which I remember really liking. So when I saw his name on this list, I'm like, good for him, more because I remember liking this dude. I don't know what the hell happened here. I still really like his voice. I think he's got a good kind of gruffness to him. I think he's got a good delivery mechanism for kind of folk music, which isn't what this is. I don't know what this is with these super brittle acoustic guitars, this, blaring synthesizer drop, and just bizarre pitch shifting to end the song. And look, I'm not opposed to a song that's just a simple nostalgia trip. Summer of '69 by Bryan Adams, love that song. Boys of Summer by Don Henley, I said that was my favorite song of all time for years, and I still really love it. But this song is just like, it's basically like an AJR song. It's just bottom of the barrel. It's so obvious what it's trying to do. And then you've got the ending, and suddenly out of nowhere it says, what is the line it says? Sorry, I'm going to look this up. I know the second part of it, but I want to get the first part right.
I had forgotten about the ending where it goes into weird
pitch shifting.
Oh no!
It's like what 21 Pilots does, except it annoyed me even more here. All right, so the final actual line of this song is "Got Sony electronics, voodoo economics." Okay,
it becomes Rammstein a little bit.
Do you guys know what voodoo economics is?
That's late though for 1999.
Yes, exactly. All right, so voodoo economics was a term used by
George W. Bush, right?
H.W.
No,
Bush.
yeah, H.W. Bush. My
the
bad.
first one.
Yeah.
To describe Reagan's economic policy, so it became synonymous with neoliberal policies. Now, the term voodoo economics is usually used in a negative manner. So to end the song with this, it's like this so far has been just a super straightforward, I wish we could go back to the old ways. And suddenly now you're using that term, which, as Justin just said, isn't usually applied to the 90s. It's usually a term used for the 80s.
Yeah, or technically it would be like early 90s is when HW would have said it, right?
He actually said it apparently in 1980.
Really?
In the Republic. Apparently, I don't actually know the history.
That's weird because you would have thought he would have said it later because then he was his freaking running mate.
He apparently said in a Republican primary. I want to look something up. So Barnes Courtney is British. So 1997 is when Tony Blair comes into office, and Tony Blair was the liberal, prime minister who sort of took the Labor Party in a neoliberal direction. So for that time period, I get using the term voodoo economics because he's from England, and that like 97 onward is the Blair period where the traditional left-wing party moves to the sort of center economically. But again, my problem is that this song has so far been a very uncritical nostalgia trip. And suddenly you throw that term in, which is typically used in a negative manner. And to end the song with that, it's like, what are we supposed to get from this? Are you saying that this wasn't a great period? Are you saying that voodoo economics are a good thing? Because most people don't agree with you there. What is this trying to convey, Barnes Courtney?
Is the only thing... Oh, sorry. The subliminal messaging that happens between songs on an album?
I have no idea what this line is trying to convey.
The only thing I could think of is, how, unless you're trying to say that nostalgia is so strong that it even makes things that were bad seem
which is
like
a totally
good.
Fine thing to write a song about.
But
it's just you can't save that.
Can't throw that at the end. Yeah.
That should be like a bridge thing.
Yeah, this just utterly, even regardless of that, I still don't like the sound of it as a whole. But that one line ratcheted this up the list because originally it was going to be lower, but that was like, what the hell I have no idea what this is trying to convey.
Just ticked you off.
I have to...
Okay. Go for it.
Okay, fine. I was just going to say, I have to rescind one of my previous statements and actually say that I do find a lot of the electronic elements of this sort of annoying. Now that I listen to it again, I'm like, yeah, this actually is really grating. And one other thought, for some reason, songs about nostalgia of like, oh, I wish it were still this time period, I just can't get into. Like this, and for some reason, it makes me think a little bit of Wish I Knew You by the Revivalists sort of thing, which is not exactly the same, but it's like, oh, I wish I knew you when we were young. And it's like, oh, I wish it was the past. And it's like, all right, I mean, sure, but I don't relate to this. It's not for me. Anyway, go ahead.
Looking at my list again, I was surprised that this one isn't on there. It was definitely in my top 15, and I guess it got booted out from it, but I was like, wait, where is it?
Yeah.
I think for some of the reasons listed, I'll keep this brief. I think that the vocal effects and the electronic elements that come in around the hook don't really work. It's just kind of a weird dissonance. I think we've certainly heard better from this person, even though it's been a while since I have heard. Just kind of a weird mashup. I think like what happens in the chorus would fit better in like a group love song about something else, probably.
I hear a lot.
But yeah, that's
on to number 6, we have Natural by Imagine Dragons, which is my number 9.
It's my number 7.
This actually made it to my number 2.
So bear with me with this comparison. This song is like that new Lion King live action movie where I'm just so numb to it that it just doesn't bother me anymore. I'm like, all right, you did Beauty and the Beast, you did Cinderella, you did Aladdin, which was better than I expected. It still sucked. Where I'm like, at this point, like I'm so numb to it. It should piss me off more, but it's just so familiar, and that's and that's the thing with Natural, is that I've heard this from them. This is Roots all over again. This is I'm So Sorry. This is Believer. Like this, I'll say this is slightly better because I kind of like the opening kind of ambient chanting. And I do think that, and that's the tragedy of this band. I think Dan Reynolds is a great singer. They just give him just nothing to work with. Like they force him to sing these really high notes, or they give him just the most blown out vocal production. Like he already has plenty of presence. Why are you making his voice sound this bad? And I'm not, and again, because this is so similar to the other stuff, I just can't get mad at it in the same way because I've heard this. I've heard this.
Yeah, it's pretty much all the same things. Like the chorus, again, it's one of their biggest issues, I think, recently. Like, it's so overblown. Like, where Believer is just screaming, and in this song, it's, like, so overproduced, and I don't want to even try to recreate it. That'd be bad. Bad choice. It's just not good, and it's so overblown, and I don't know, it bothered me, because I think they've done good things.
Yeah, I like Radioactive aside from
so do I.
Its time's really good. Like there was a time I was really excited for them because at the time they came out, like everything sounded like MGMT or Mumford & Sons, and they didn't sound like either of them.
No, and they were able to like differentiate themselves a bit, but then they've gone down this path in the last 4 or 5 years, since pretty much college.
5 years, I think.
Yeah, and then I don't know, they've really disappointed me, and I wasn't like the hugest fan, even though I still liked a couple of their things. But it's just, I don't know, it's bothered me. It bothers me, but I can't be, again, it's only number 7 on my list. I'm not that mad at it. Like, again,
because there's no disappointment anymore.
No, like, again, I think I hate Thunder way more than I hate this song, and
Thunder's just boring.
But Thunder, it's so, I don't know, it's so boring, and the sound noises are so weird. This one is just like, I expect it. It's so much like Believer, and it's so much like any of their other stuff, like you were saying, that you don't feel as disappointed. But it's still not I don't like it.
All right, Andy.
I somehow don't have the fortune to be numb to this yet. So it does grate on me. It bothers me. It's the chorus all the way. It's just too much. I don't know what they're trying to do, but it's not great. It's too loud, too high, too, like, shouting about I don't know what.
Nothing. This meaning nothing. All their songs these days are about nothing. Aside from Bad Liar, which is one of the reasons I kind of like. I'm like, at least that song's about something.
Yeah. But yeah, this one, like it almost had me in like the first 30 or 40 seconds. I think if you just like surgically removed the chorus from this and put in something else, it might even become a good song. Like, if I could have more of what's kind of going on in the early parts, where you get like a little bit of falsetto, you get a little bit of light music, and it sounds a little bit mysterious even, and none of the shouting, I would probably like it, but I can't, and I don't want to listen to this, so it's pretty low on my list of lows.
Yeah. Tommy, anything?
More of the same. It was in my top like 12 Forest, I think, but I got booted out. I would agree. I actually love the intro of the song. I love the beginning part. I think it's really good, and it had me hoping it was going to be something really interesting. And then we hit a chorus or whatever it is, and the yelling starts. I'm like, and there we go.
The yelling would be fine if everything else was not so gutless. If like they didn't have why do they even have a guitarist? Like, he does nothing. It's the most like weak, pathetic strumming I've ever heard. Like, what is even the point of him?
Are they a band anymore, or are they just a dude singing with and then with a guy on a computer?
No, they still have a drummer. I'll say this: at least they have a drummer.
They have a drummer. I like this better than Believer, but that's not saying.
That's not. Yeah, I agree, but that's not saying much, as you said. Number what are we on? 5, I think. Number 5. Why Did You Run by Judah and the Lion, which is my number 6.
It is my number 4.
It's my where is it? My number 7.
Andy?
Kind of a weird one, this. It's where to start? It's kind of like alternative, or I don't know if folksy would be a good way to describe it, but early on it sounds okay. Let's say that. I think maybe my big thing here is we get further into the song, and especially in the chorus, and it adds in these like kind of pop synth electronic loud elements that I don't understand why they're there. I don't think they do anything for the song. And it's another case to kind of pull out that weird card I heard earlier of like, I just don't think that this is a song that works in electronic.
Yes, thank you. Here's the tragedy of this song, because we all were probably first introduced to this band with Take It All Back.
Take It All Back,
which is just an incoherent nightmare of a song on every level. This is sorry.
No, go ahead.
But this one, I think, actually has a coherent lyrics to it, where it's about, a mother who's a drug addict, a dad who's not in the picture, him just not knowing where the direction he is. And I think even the repetition of Why Did You Run, I think, works to put in kind of a childish, the only way to handle this, just blaming everyone else. But as you said, I don't know where the hell this wannabe chain smokers drop fits into any of this. Like, it doesn't add anything. And reading up on Gene, I want to get the exact quote from Genius. Sorry, because I looked it up. And they talked about just what you're talking about right now. Sorry.
Nah, take your time.
I'll chime in with my thoughts.
I've got it. Nope, that's not right. Where is it? Okay, here's the artist annotation of this song. The production of this song is very purposeful. The lyrics depict moments of intense pain and loneliness, but in the midst of that, the band wanted to make a track that makes people want to dance. Dancing through the pain can sometimes be the best way to tell your body things are going to be okay. I get that. Because one of my favorite pop songs of the decade is I Took a Pill in Ibiza by Mike Posner. I love that song. Okay, and that's doing what this is saying here. But there's something cathartic and kind of dark even in sort of the electronic elements of that song. There's none of that here. It's just, again, like sub chain smokers drop that has like 3 things going on at once, and it just is so flat. Justin, you start.
All right. So every song that I've heard by them, I haven't liked. I've only heard maybe 4 or 5, so it's pretty low. But one of my biggest issues is the lyrics and the tone of the music. The lyrics and the tone that it's supposed to convey, and the music, and they never seem to combine well. Like, Take It All Back was one of the weirdest combinations of music and lyrics and whatever it's supposed to be, in my opinion. This one is less bad than that, but it just, I don't know, it so doesn't fit together that it makes me dislike it more than its lyrics, fine. Its music, not a huge fan, but it wouldn't be offensive. But putting them together it's worse than the sum of its parts.
I think that's a good way of putting it. Tommy, do you have anything to say?
So, I absolutely love Take It Back or Take It All Back. That's fine. I like the sound of it better with, I think it's probably got to be banjo plucked sounds.
I think it's actually ukulele.
Okay, probably that. The song mentions banjo, but I think you're right.
They mentioned a lot of things in that song.
They mentioned a lot of things to do. But the I don't know, something about I guess you call it the chorus, the Take It All Back Just to Have You, is feels like strong and passionate sort of thing, but we're not talking about that. That's not on the list. I wish I don't know much by them, but I would like to hear more like that. Actually, I know some of you don't like it, and it is a bit chaotic. But something about that appealed to me. Why Did You Run was just very forgettable. It didn't make it on my list, just probably because I forgot about it. Yeah, I'd agree. The weird poppy synthy part just absolutely is like, why did you put this in here?
Yeah.
And otherwise, I don't know. This is more of what you said mostly.
One of the reasons it's also not higher on my list is that you guys didn't have to listen to this. Justin and I, when we reviewed the charts before, we talked about a song of theirs called Over My Head, which is, I would argue, even worse than Take It All Back, and is just awful.
I think I've almost scrubbed that from my head. I don't remember at all what it sounds like.
Yeah. Sorry, Andy.
One last note on kind of the electronic side of things. There's a certain formula of what makes a good electronic song for me, and I'm still trying to figure out what it is because I don't quite understand it. Whatever's going on here isn't it. I feel like when you have those big synths and like big like fabricated sounds in electronic music, you have to do something with it too. Otherwise it just sounds very flat and it becomes like a forgettable dance pop club whatever song that nobody's gonna remember in a couple of years. Which is very strange for me because I would almost say that, well, yeah, Chainsmokers does some of that kind of thing, but I like some Chainsmokers. Galantis is another one for me that kind of does some of that, but I really like Galantis.
Galantis have like power and like epicness to them.
So I think what it is, part of it might be complexity of like how much you're actually doing with the music and like how carefully you're putting it together. So complexity, production value, and maybe some of it is just also like intent, because I believe that with electronic music, even without lyrics, you can make somebody feel something. Words. Or you can do this and have it be like flat as a shoreline.
Yeah, anyone could have made this.
Exactly. I think maybe you've put it spot on. Like, this is the kind of thing that you don't really need to be, well, let me not talk about artists. Anyone can make this. That's a good way of putting it.
Speaking of a song where I don't think anyone could have made this, and that might be part of the problem, at number 4, we have 100 Bad Days by AJR, which is my number 3.
I think it's my number 5.
It is your number 5.
This is also my number 5.
Let's go, Justin. I don't know who wants to go first. Justin,
I'll go first.
Andy just talked to.
Again, just another one of those songs that really bugged me. Musically uninteresting, lyrically really kind of bugs me. And I don't know why. Again, like, I get it. You turn your bad days into good stories, and it's a way of looking at your life. It's just, I don't know. For some reason, the trumpet part at the end of this song was, I think, awful. Like whatever horn noise they were trying to throw into the instrumental, it was cacophonous and like a bunch of way too many things going on at one time. And it just, I was like, what are you trying to do here? Like, musically. And that's most of the time with these songs, it's more of the lyrics bother me more than music because I can tone music out. This one, the music bothered me quite a bit. Do you have any extra stuff?
Ooh. AJR is a band I would like to like because they're, of a handful of songs I've heard by them, there's a fair few that come pretty close to being really, really appealing to me. Good Pretender, or it might just be called Pretender, that they do with Steve Aoki
and Lil
Yachty, yeah. I quite enjoy that song, but in that case, it's a collab, so they're only doing part of it. AJR's song Hang Out, or Come Hang Out, is almost perfect to me as well. I think on that one, the bridge just really kills it. I can't get past the bridge. This one is not quite as good as those. Clearly. It's got some of the things that fascinate me about AJR, which is they're kind of like unusual lyricism. I would almost narrowly say a little bit similar to 21 Pilots, but in a pretty different way.
They do really want to be 21 Pilots.
I can see that.
Where you get like a little bit of talking, a little bit of singing, a little bit of somewhere in between. You've got like some of the big band elements or some of the like more kind of eccentric musical composition that sometimes makes AJR interesting. And I feel like the first one or two times that I heard the song, I actually enjoyed it. And then I just kind of keep hearing the lyrics more, and like it's close. It's like 100 bad days makes 100 good stories. And it's like, yeah, maybe you got a point. And then I feel like I've said this before, and I feel like you actually brought this point specifically to my attention, Blake. But then the next part where it's 100 good stories makes me interesting at parties. That I think
that's awful.
Is symptomatic of this. Maybe my biggest complaint with this band is they have these interesting things and then they run it into the ground with like this extreme like shallowness.
Yes, 100%. All right, so the song that this reminds me of is Someone You Love by Louis Capaldi. Because that song is, just this horrible over-singing combined with, like, I guess I was kind of getting used to being someone you love. Like, why are you delivering this with so much gravitas and yet the lyrics are all, like, super, like undersold? Like, what the hell? Yeah. And that's why this song, I don't think is the worst AJR song, because they have a song currently called Bang, which is so much worse than this, but I think it's still in the top 3 right now. But this song, like, because this band wants to be epic. They want to crank up the melodrama, really sell themselves. And yet, as you just said, they undercut themselves at every point by making it seem so shallow. Like yes, 100 bad days, bad experiences make for good stories. Totally agree. That's a great thing to write a song about. But then you only are using those stories to be interesting at parties. Like, normally the sentiment of this song would be, I took those stories and turned them into my music, which, all right, played out, but familiar enough. But that could do something, to inspire others. This is just, to be interesting at parties. It's like, is that all you care about?
Or even using those bad stories as like a less like, I could tell these stories at a party, but like as like a growth as a person, they don't care about that. They just want to
be interesting. That's all this adds, and that's a big problem with this band, that they're so blown out and they just want to be so epic and sell all this melodrama, and then they just make it all so small and myopic, and it's just like, and that's because some people call this band cynical. I don't agree with that at all. I think they are one of the most sincere bands out there, which terrifies me.
Yeah. See, all of these things that you're bringing up and these like points about them, they're another thing that kind of makes me interested to be more interested or want to like them more, because I feel like all this like taking these grand ideas and shrinking it down to something so specific and, like you said, myopic, or something so like surface level, everyday or party or whatnot, is an idea from maybe a literary perspective that sort of fascinates me. Like, if this was done with intention, or if, like, I know I said I don't like self-awareness, but if like the band were at least writing it with some self-awareness or reflection on it of how, and trying to say something, I don't know, about like how society these days is like all these big ideals, but it's kind of like that doesn't really exist anymore, or this is all we have now, and like you can't really think these big things. I might buy into that. I just don't feel like that's what's happening.
Exactly.
Here.
Like what you just said about intent. I think their intent is that this song is important, which we'll come back to later. Another song thinks it's fucking important. But this song, like, that's the problem with them, is that they think that this is like important, and yet they undercut themselves. And Justin's already brought up points about the music, which honestly with this band just kind of whatever, that it's a secondary thing. But like, the kind of angelic choir that comes in. I'm like, all right, it's kind of cool. And then bam, pitch shifted, just monstrosity out of nowhere. The tune is super basic. You get all this trap percussion because of course you do. But yeah, just again, it's not the worst AJR song, but I think it's the quintessential AJR song.
It sums up all your feelings about them.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. Very, very different short side note. If you want a band with almost the same name and a very different experience, check out AJJ.
Oh, yeah.
That's some shouting and ska or something. I don't really know what's going on there. It's kind of frantic and makes me a little bit
never thought you'd be into the Andrew Jackson jihad.
Yeah, but it's fascinating.
Call themselves anymore. Tommy, do you have anything you want to add?
I was just going to say one additional note to this song. I didn't hate it enough to put it on my list, but it's not terribly memorable to me. The one thing I think that helps me not hate it so much is my own interpretation, basically. When it says, okay, 100 bad stories or bad days, good stories, whatever, that's cool. And then the interesting at parties part would absolutely kill it for me as well, except for that for some reason that gets extrapolated in my mind to mean like not just, oh, I want to be all the attention at the party, but rather like interesting at party means like, oh, well, I have stories, meaning like it lets me talk to and relate to people sort of thing. So it's like maybe not quite so literal, but it's like, okay, well, in a certain sense it's saying, or it could be saying, bad experiences make us grow as people and then brings us closer because we've been through similar hardships or whatever. So it's like, that would almost be a good message. I'm not sure that's what they're really saying, but I think that's what they're saying.
I wish I could interpret it like that.
I'm glad you have got something more out of it than I did.
It's a bit wishful, I know, but...
on to number 3, we have Cringe by Matt Mason, which is my number 4.
Ooh, my number 4.
My number 3.
What's going on, Blake?
Really? You go first, because I just ranted a bunch, Andy.
Oh, me, okay. This is weird. It's like there are bones from a skeleton of a song I would like in here.
Yeah.
And then like you put all the, whatever goes on a skeleton on top of that. And it looks very
muscles
different.
and a body on top of it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. The body of the song is different. It's uncomfortable.
Yes.
It kind of weirds me out. It's like, again, another one that, I haven't paid that close attention, but I kind of can't really register what the lyrics are trying to say. And then it's got these like gospel-ish elements to it that I don't know where they come from, and I don't think I think they got off at the wrong bus stop. I don't know how better again to say it other than just kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, this is a really hard topic to nail as a song. Because it's about being this kind of drug addict who's clearly a mess, and being in this relationship, and the other partner gives up on you, and you're like oh, you just can't handle me, I make you cringe. Like, that's a really hard sentiment to make work, because you're the one who seems to be at blame for all this, and yet you're making the other person look like the villain for being too much of a snob, thinking they're too good for you, think they don't have to do. That's really hard to do.
Yeah.
But this song just messes it up, man. Like, all the production's a mess, where you've got some parts that are really blown out, and then other parts that are trying to be, like, as you mentioned, like liquid and kind of smooth or kind of gospel-like. The flippin' hook starts with what appears to be a Michael Jackson reference for some reason. And if it's not a Michael Jackson reference, you're just a god-awful songwriter. Where
I had blocked that out.
Like, the way to make this work is to make it seem like it's conversational. But instead, he says, as I just mentioned, you said, she said I'm looking like a bad man, a smooth criminal. She says my spirit doesn't move the way. It's like, who talks like that? No one talks like that. That is songwriting fluff. That no, like it totally breaks my immersion. And then because I feel no sympathy for this guy, the whole bridge of the song where it gets, kind of faded out and he goes, "Do I make you cringe?" I'm like, first off, this sounds too much like Ricky Gervais. And like, do I offend you? It's just, again, I almost want to admire the tenacity to do a song like this, especially really early in your career. But the execution just doesn't work. It's not higher on my list because I kind of like the guitar that comes in the hook, even if it kind of builds some swell, even if the hand claps sound like garbage. And again, the production's just a mess as a whole. Tommy, you go ahead.
I don't really have too much to add other than, I couldn't get into the feel of the music and the lyrics. I know it'll be a bit insensitive to say because it is a bit of a complex subject and it's not quite so black and white. But if the perspective is from like drug addict and it's trying to paint the other person struggling with them in the relationship as being the one who's at fault, it's kind of like, well, objectively speaking, no. I can't sympathize with you because you're basically acknowledging that you have a problem, but you're refusing to fix it. And I know it's like actual addiction is more complicated, but if it's a song about it, doesn't make me empathize. And so I just, it does make me cringe. It genuinely does.
Yeah, which, good job, I guess.
Yes, maybe that's the point, but then it's
congratulations.
It elicited an emotion?
It did, yeah.
I think last point for me, I think what you said about the immersion is absolutely correct. And I was rolling that around in my head the other day and I was like, because it's like that part. She said I'm looking like a bad man. Smooth criminal.
Oh god. And if that's not supposed to be a reference, then why would you ever phrase it like that?
I don't
know. It just makes it sound like Justin, do you have anything to say before we move on to the final stretch?
It was near the end of mine. I thought it was just it didn't, for some reason wasn't able to focus on it as much. So it didn't bother me as much. So I was able to it kind of was able to exist without making me as angry. It would have been in like my bottom 15, 16 songs, but it didn't elicit enough of an emotion, which the next song will.
That's not the next song. That one's, there's one other one that you don't have on your worst list.
Yeah, but no, it's not a good song. It's not produced well. The hand claps sound awful. But it wasn't enough to where it made me be like, I need this to go on my top 10.
What I don't understand is why it got so big.
Yeah, it's like other stuff I don't like, at least, this is just odd. On to number 2, Hey Look Ma, I Made It by Panic at the Disco, which is my number 2.
Oh man.
This is my number 1.
I'm using 7. an old version of the list.
Yeah, I moved some stuff around. Don't worry. That's
my bad. I apologize.
No worries. Tommy, what was it on yours?
It was my number 7. I genuinely like parts of it, actually. The sort of softer intro is okay, sure, whatever. And then the sort of like electronic tones that really come in around the chorus, I actually really dig the sound of that. But lyrically, I found it kind of annoying, and a lot of the presentation, like the lead up to the chorus, I'm sure there are terms for these things, but
pre-chorus.
Thank you, literally. But where it starts like spouting off like short lines and says stuff about the Garden of Evil and stuff. Yeah. I'm just like, wait, what's happening? And gonna be the greatest, and I don't know, like it's a sentiment that I don't hate, like the hey look. Well, okay, I kind of hate it. I want to
You're
like it
even
more than I do,
confused than
but
this song is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It feels shallow and it just sort of falls
Picture
flat.
this in your minds for a second. Imagine if Love Song by Sarah Bareilles sounded like Low by Flo Rida and T-Pain. That wouldn't make any sense, right? Because the song is supposed to be taking the piss out of the industry, and yet it seems to be capitulating to that industry by sounding like what they want to sound like.
Yeah.
And that's my big problem with Halo Claw I made as a whole, is that it's trying to be, much like Weezer, it's trying to be self-aware. It's supposed to be this spoof of the industry, oh, I'm a prostitute, my pimp's a record label. Like, but then you have the hook, which is just a straight-faced, sincere celebration.
I know a bunch of graduations that use this song as like their final.
No, really?
Yeah.
And
Look at Hey Look Ma, I Made It. It makes sense.
And despite all my problems with it, I can't hate High Hopes, but all the problems I have with High Hopes just are echoed here, where like I think Brendan Urie has a ton of charisma. I think he's a great presence. I don't know who is producing his stuff for him, because this just sounds like ass to me. I know that they're fake horns, but something is fundamentally wrong with the tone they picked for the chorus. I'm sorry, Tom.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like just like they recycled the same effect, like re-rendered it like 8 different times, and it just kept getting more and more bad. The final 30 seconds of the, not 30 seconds, like 20 seconds of the song has this awful clicking percussion that overtakes everything. It is louder than every element of the song. I'm like, this is like amateurish.
I've forgotten about that. It is annoying.
Yeah, and the reason it's so high, because unlike you two, I don't really have a history with this band. But if I did, I would be pissed off, because this is the song where he says, "Hey, look, Ma, I made it." I'm like, you're Panic at the Disco. Haven't you made it already? Like, what is...
Almost 20 years now or something?
And that's why the Sarah Bareilles analog before doesn't really work, because this song, in addition to trying to be a parody, is also, again, just a straight-faced celebration. I'm like, what are you trying to convey here, Urie? Like, all this self-awareness doesn't mean anything when it's this incoherent, and you're taking the piss out of the industry while simultaneously having the worst production of your entire career. Andy, go ahead.
Let's start slow. So the music, it was there. I don't know if I'm correct about this, but I kind of feel like this is like in the same pitch as High Hopes, and just kind of stays there.
Very much so.
I feel like those, and I don't know, maybe other Panic songs recently kind of blend together for me, and it's just not really catching my attention or interesting me as much as some of the ones I like more, some of their older stuff. And then there's the lyrics. See, I didn't even really get that far as to, try to interpret it as a parody or whatever may be going on there. I can see it trying to be that. I can't escape the chorus, which is celebratory of, yeah, you made it. It just feels like I get bothered by the idea that this very successful music artist who has a whole lot of money is gloating and being smug about it in a song that I have to listen to. And I know maybe there's more going on with that.
But maybe the more that's going on just contradicts the hook.
Yeah, but
But it's self-aware, though.
I just feel a little bit insulted. So we'll leave it there.
Anyone have anything else to say before we get to our number one? The only song that all 4 of us put in our worst list, by the way, is our number one. Justin, do you have anything else to say about Panic?
They've pretty much become just a normal pop
They.
band. Him, that's it. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty lazy. I understand all the sentiment of they've made it for a while now.
Yeah, 2007 is one,
Something
or even
crazy.
earlier. I think
I
is
think
when
like 5 or 6 or
yeah, I think
something
it's
like
actually
that.
earlier.
Yeah. So, and then I don't know. The lyrics were pretty. I don't know. The chorus and the lyric and the tone very off. Not a good song. I understand why you guys dislike it that much. For me, again, I can view it as a straight pop song without thinking about it too much.
Fair enough.
But yeah. All right. On to
number 1. Love It If We Made It by the 1975, which is my number 1 worst.
It's my least favorite song on this list.
It's my number 10. Go for it.
Oh, what?
What's it on your list?
Number 10, so least disliked.
My number 9.
Okay.
So you start.
I don't know. I guess I never really got into this song enough to have a strong opinion of it. I found it annoying in a strange or a difficult to describe way because it just feels like I haven't paid very close attention to it. I feel like it's more of just the sentiment of love it if we made it, like, oh, it would be great if we succeed. It's like, well, what is that supposed to make me feel?
Yeah.
The general sound. I don't know. I don't actually have a whole lot to say about it, but I might have some comments on what you guys said.
Oh boy, Justin and I certainly will. Andy, go ahead.
This started out much closer to number 1 of my worst. I think it crept back to number 9 just over time by me finding songs that I disliked slightly more. And I think it holds at number 9 just because somehow I may be able to manage to just kind of tune out all of the lyrics and have it again as like a bit of a background song that is like I can kind of sway to it or whatever, or get worked on or something by not paying attention to it, and it's tolerable through that few levels of numbness. But if I start listening to the lyrics, it goes. Just like the chorus, or I suppose the title of it, I would love it if we made it. I mean, yeah, sometimes I feel like that too. Maybe it's a bit of an apocalyptic day, and it's like, gee, I sure hope we can make it to tomorrow. So there's that. I don't know if that's how this song is intending it, and like everything outside of that just feels like, yes, the world is ending, and I turn on the news to find that out. So will listen to something else. Thank you.
Justin, do you want to go first, or should I?
Sure. I'll start it off.
All right.
Okay. I don't really have a lot of a relationship with the 1975.
Me neither. Yeah.
But all the lyrics in this song hurt me to my core.
I'm gonna agree really quick because I just realized it says "Poison Me, Daddy." Sorry.
Yep. You didn't know that? That's one that stuck out very clear.
Okay, it's moving up my list. Sorry, go ahead.
It's oh Lord. Okay. I could almost just read all the lyrics and show all my problems.
Before you do that, the very first time Justin and I reviewed this song back in my radio station, he just printed out a list of the lyrics and just read them off just on air.
You could just
continue, Justin.
Okay. A couple key ones. The Poison Me Daddy one. Oh, that's a real big one. And then at the end, when he just starts labeling things: consultation, degradation, fossil fueling, masturbation, immigration, liberal kitsch, kneeling on a pitch. Just when I feel defeated after listening to this song. It's trying so hard to be important that it makes me, I don't get upset that much about this. Like, it's just, thank you, Kanye. Very cool.
Very cool, yeah. It's supposed to be in quote marks. It's supposed to be a reference to the Trump tweet that just said, "Thank you, Kanye, very cool." Back when he was starting his MAGA phase.
He also did the "I moved on her like a bitch."
Yeah, again, these are quotes, but okay. So I've already written 1,200 words about how much I flippin' hate this song. Nice. And much like Good Things Falls Apart, this is a song that a lot of people really love. I just don't get it, man. Like, because I've heard songs like this before, like It's the End of the World and We Know It by R.E.M.
Yep, that's a good one.
Frida, oh my god, what's the song called? Keep on Rockin' the Free World by Neil Young. We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel. What's that 60s one? Eve of Destruction by Barry McGuire. Like, I've heard this done.
So what went wrong here?
Well, I don't know, man. Like, it's got the same problem as Hey Look Mama I Made It, where the hook is just straightforward sincerity. Like, there's no depth to it. So it's like, this isn't, like, all the lyrics are just nihilistic garbage, and then you end the hook with, you know, I'd love if we made it. And oh my god, like, as Justin said, I don't have much of a fondness for this band. They're catchy. They do their own thing. I don't know what the hell Matt Healy's delivery is in this song. Just the most blaring, portentous, convinced of its own greatness, and it's just so one note, so annoying. The music is, see, here's I think what problem is. What's this? What did I just said it. It's the End of the World as We Know It. That song ratchets up the tempo to sort of put you in the mind of, you know, this whirlwind of BS. Like, whoa, there's so much I can't handle it. This song is butt ugly. It's so slow and turns that you can't get to. So again, I think it's to emphasize its importance, and all it does is just, again, just butt ugly. There's nothing triumphant in the instrumentation besides just this beep, beep, beep that they hammer in at the end, and these kind of pretty flutters that, again, are just flutters and don't add to much. And again, I just don't understand how you can get into this song, because it's just, I think Justin said this the first time I talked about it. It's literally like you're going through, like you're just scrolling through Twitter and you just wrote a bunch of current events in there. And there's no, and it doesn't seem like there's any thought put into how it's constructed. You have a line about, you know, the Syrian refugee crisis, you know, hundreds of dead bodies on a beach. Yeah. Followed by Poison
Rest
Me Daddy.
in peace.
And Rest in peace, little peep.
Here.
It's like,
let me just read that
same level of importance.
Let me just read this one verse, and I think it explains it all. And poison me, daddy. I've got the Jones right through my bones. Write it on a piece of stone. A beach of drowning 3-year-olds. Rest in peace, little peep. The poetry is in the streets. Jesus save us. Modernity has failed us.
Yeah, okay. Modernity has failed us is a good line to build a song about. But the rest of the song is just an incoherent, like, look at that verse. Every other line had a different, like, flipping register to it, where some lines were super serious, some were just nothings, some were just in, like, Poison Me Daddy is literally an in-joke. So it's like, there's no populism to the song at all. Like, there's no, like, triumph, and then there's the lyric at Justin read earlier, where it's like, you know, liberal kitsch, kneeling on a pitch. It's like, those aren't on the same level. Like, I know I'm one of the liberals of liberal kitsch, but I'm like, people annoyed at liberal kitsch and people who are annoyed at
Colin Kaepernick.
Kaepernick, like, why are we extending a hand to these people? These are not good people.
Yeah, it's
who is the we in this song? That's another big problem. Who is we? Because the song, if the song is based on the lyrics, the we is also the people mad at Kaepernick, which, I'm sorry, I don't want to be in the allegiance with those people.
See, but I don't necessarily know what they're going for here.
I have no idea what this
is. That's one of the big issues. It's like,
all right, let Tommy and Andy speak. We've ranted too long.
Sorry.
I kind of think that this is a song with no message. It's
bingo right there.
It delivers all these things to us. It just, like, it feels like somebody has photocopied a list of things and just comes and like sets the sack on your desk with a smile and like maybe a wink as they leave, and they just turn around and it's like, well, what am I supposed to do with this? It's like, yes, I know. Yes, I've seen it. Thank you for putting it in a song. Now
it's like if you took the big tweets of like 15-year-olds to 27-year-olds.
Yeah. Okay.
What was it? Whenever this came out, whenever this song came out last year,
or maybe even earlier.
Maybe it was earlier.
Whatever.
And they took that and they're like, okay, you know, it'd be cool if we just picked and pieced things that are like kind of buzzwords, kind of edgy, like the people who are in the know will know this, and we can make a song around this and people will think we're deep. But for me, like talking about 3-year-olds who are nothing gets more focused,
everything is given
everything's on the same level
yeah.
of attention, whether it's 3-year-olds dying on the beach in on the beach from the Syrian crisis, or like immigrate, or like degradation, consultation.
What does that mean? This is just...
Sorry, one more analogy.
Okay, go.
This song is like if your cat dragged in the Twitter bird and set it at your feet and just sat there smugly.
I get it. But I don't know. It just bothers me.
I don't know. It's all good. I have, now that I've actually listened to it and paid attention, I'd heard it before, but I'd heard it. I hadn't listened to it. And I wish it was still that way. I have 2 thoughts. One, if you stripped the song of the lyrics and just had the music and slow it down, do some work on it, you'd almost have a vaguely effective lo-fi song, I feel like, which is probably the only reason that it didn't land higher on my list, because I hadn't paid attention and I was like, okay, yeah, it's ambient, it's there. And second thought, it feels like somebody created an AI to browse the trending tweets on Twitter for a day and then generate a song.
It's ridiculous.
And like, as Justin just said, it's just kind of implicated, I 100% get the appeal of this song. Like, look, life sucks right now. I get it. Even pre-quarantine, I get it. But don't reward this. This is the lowest possible. And I don't, because a couple weeks ago, Matt Healy, there was that whole blackout event where like people on Twitter were supposed to like not promote their own work at all. They were supposed to, you know, just bring attention, hey, here's some events you can go to, here's some causes you can donate to it. And Healy posted this song on his Twitter because there's a line in this song about, incarcerate the black man, I think is the exact lyric.
Yep.
And he got a lot of flack for this. I don't think he was trying to be insincere. I think he genuinely does think this song is helpful to people. But there's just...
It had a moderately good idea people that it executed the wrong way.
I know people at Merry-Go-Round Magazine who do genuinely really like this song. I'm glad you got something out of it, especially in these times. Get solace, get pleasure out of anything you can. I get life sucks right now, but come on.
I have one good thing to say about this song. I am actually incredibly happy it came out when it did and not during this quarantine. I can only imagine what kind of random crap would be in that. And I would be so much more angry. And I'm pretty angry right now.
Yes, you are. All right. We need to end this. I'm going to get red in the face. All right. Well, that was our 21 worst songs out of 50. Boy, we were really divergent on that. Hopefully you enjoyed. Not sure if we'll get another one done before school starts, but thank you all for listening if you are this far. I'm not sorry to whoever's pissed off by this. See you next time.
Later. Keep listening to crap.